Well, hello. It is a privilege to be with you today, a real privilege. You know, they give you a stage, they give you a microphone, and they say talk. And I've thought a great deal about what might be most valuable for us to discuss in our time together. We could talk about the stock market. We could talk about interest rates. We could talk about the latest economic indicators splashed across the headline. We could spend our whole time analyzing the world's economy. But today I want to talk about a different economy, a more personal economy, a more powerful economy. I want to talk about your economy, because here is a truth you must grasp. If you want to build a life of true prosperity, it's not the economy, it's you. Now, that might sound strange. You turn on the news and they tell you the economy is up, the economy is down, jobs are being created, jobs are being lost. Inflation is rising, the market is crashing, and it all sounds so big, so impersonal, so overwhelming. It sounds like a force of nature, a tide that will either lift your boat or sink it. And you are just a passenger hoping for good weather. That is the great deception. That is the lie that keeps millions of people in a state of anxiety, frustration, and passive hope. They believe their financial destiny is tied to the whims of a vast, incomprehensible system. They believe their prosperity is determined by politicians in Washington, by bankers on Wall Street, by global events in faraway countries, and so they wait. They wait for the economy to get better so they can get better. They wait for the right conditions before they dare to build, to invest, to grow. They give their power away. They make themselves victims of circumstance. Today, I want to give that power back to you. I want to introduce you to the concept of your personal economic philosophy. This is the internal set of rules, beliefs, and principles that govern how you manage your most precious resources, your time, your talent, your energy, and your money. This personal economy operates under its own laws, and it is infinitely more important than the national or global economy. Why? Because while you cannot control the gross domestic product, you can absolutely control your personal domestic product. You cannot dictate the unemployment rate, but you can dictate your own employability and value. You cannot stop inflation with your hands, but you can outpace it with your personal growth and intelligent management. The world's economy is the sea. Your personal economic philosophy is your ship. A skilled captain with a well-built, well-maintained ship can navigate stormy seas, can find favorable winds, and can reach his destination even when the weather is rough. A poor captain in a leaky boat will be sunk in the calmest of waters. The condition of the sea matters, yes, but the quality of the captain and the vessel matter more. Your personal economic philosophy is what builds your ship and trains you to be its captain. Let's break down the components of this philosophy. First, there is the principle of self-value. The foundational truth of your personal economy is this: your income is directly proportional to the value you create in the marketplace. It is not proportional to your needs, your wants, or your hopes. The marketplace is brutally objective. It pays for value, period. If you are frustrated with your income, the problem is not the economy. The problem is that the current value you are providing is worth your current income. The solution is not to demand more money for the same value. The solution is to become more valuable. Upgrade your skills. Deepen your knowledge. Solve bigger problems. Serve more people. Become so good at what you do that you become difficult to replace and easy to reward. When you focus on increasing your value, your income has no choice but to follow. It is a shadow that follows the substance. Chasing the shadow is futile. Building the substance is the master strategy. So the first question of your personal economic philosophy must be, what am I doing today to increase my value to my employer, my clients, my industry, my community, not next year? Today. Second, there is the principle of financial stewardship. Money is not something that happens to you. Money is a tool you manage. It is congealed life, energy, the hours of your life converted into currency. How you manage that currency declares your true priorities and determines your future freedom. Most people have no philosophy here. They have reflexes. They earn and they spend. They are consumers. Their financial strategy is a budget for dissipation. A personal economic philosophy of stewardship says, I will manage my resources with wisdom and foresight. This means living on less than you earn. It means saving systematically. It means investing educationally first in yourself, then in assets that can work for you. It means avoiding the slavery of consumer debt for things that depreciate. Stewardship understands the power of the margin, the gap between what you earn and what you spend. That margin is your field of dreams. That margin funds your education, your investments, your security, your generosity. If your outgo exceeds your income, your upkeep will be your downfall. No national economic boom can save a person with poor personal stewardship. And a person with excellent personal stewardship can thrive in any economic climate because they have built a buffer. They have options. They have capital that can seize opportunity when others are panicking. Third, there is the principle of abundance versus scarcity. This is the mental software that runs your economic decisions. The scarcity mindset looks at the world and sees lack. It says, there's not enough. The pie is fixed. If you get a big piece, that means less for me. This mindset breeds fear, jealousy, and small thinking. It leads to hoarding, to unethical shortcuts, to resentment of others' success. The abundant mindset, the core of a healthy personal economic philosophy, looks at the world and sees possibility. It says there is more than enough. Value can be created. The pie can be made bigger. This mindset breeds creativity, generosity, and collaboration. It allows you to celebrate others' success, knowing it does not diminish your own potential. It opens your eyes to opportunities for creation rather than just competition for slices. Your personal economy will expand or contract to match your mindset. If you believe it's a scarce world, you will clutch what you have and live small. If you believe it's an abundant world, you will look for ways to create and give, and in the giving you will find yourself receiving more. Fourth, there is the principle of time investment. Most people trade time for money. That is the basic transaction of employment. But your personal economic philosophy must graduate beyond that. It must recognize that time is your most non-renewable resource. Once spent, it is gone forever. Therefore, the ultimate economic goal is to gradually shift from trading your own time for money to having your capital and your systems work for you. This is the journey from active income to passive income, from labor to leverage. But it starts with how you invest your time today. Are you investing it in activities that depreciate mindless entertainment, gossip, worry? Or are you investing in assets that appreciate learning new skills, building relationships, creating something of value, planning your future? Every hour is a seed. You can plant it in barren ground or you can plant it in fertile soil. Your harvest years from now will be the direct result of where you chose to plant your hours today. The national economy doesn't care how you spend your evenings. Your personal economy is built there. Fifth, there is the principle of responsibility. The victim says, the economy is bad, that's why I'm struggling. The philosopher owner says, the economy is presenting new challenges. What adjustments do I need to make in my skills, my spending, my strategy? One stance is powerless. The other is powerful. Your personal economic philosophy must be rooted in the unshakable belief that you are the CEO of your own life. You are responsible for your results. Blaming the external economy is a luxury you cannot afford if you want to be prosperous. It is an abdication of your power. The economy will always have cycles. There will always be booms and busts. Your job is not to predict them perfectly, but to build a life and a reserve so robust that you can weather the busts and capitalize on the booms. That is on you. That is your design. That is your responsibility. Now, how do you develop this personal economic philosophy? It doesn't come from the news. It comes from study. You must become a student of wealth, not a spectator of the economy. Read the biographies of men and women who started with little and built much. Study basic accounting and investing principles. Understand the history of economic cycles, not to fear them, but to learn their patterns. This self-education is the most important investment you will ever make. It installs the software that allows you to interpret the world correctly and make wise decisions. Furthermore, you must audit your current beliefs. What do you truly believe about money? Do you believe it's the root of all evil or a tool for good? Do you believe rich people are lucky or corrupt? Or do you believe they have simply mastered certain principles? Do you believe you deserve abundance? Or do you have a hidden belief that you are not worthy of it? These subconscious beliefs are the invisible hands on the wheel of your personal economy. You must bring them to light and challenge them. Replace myths with truths. Replace scarcity with abundance. This internal work is more important than any external job. Let me give you a practical example of two people in the same external economy. Let's say there's a recession. Headlines are gloomy. Company layoffs are announced. Person A, who has no strong personal economic philosophy, is terrified. He sees himself as a victim. He stops spending, yes, but he also stops investing in himself. He hunkers down in fear. He complains about the politicians and the bankers. His energy is drained by anxiety. His world shrinks. He becomes more vulnerable. Person B, who operates with a personal economic philosophy, sees the same headlines differently. He thinks, all right, a season of challenge. Let's consult my principle. Principle of self-value. Is my skill set recession resistant? Can I learn something now that will make me more valuable when things turn around? He uses any extra time to take an online course. Principle of stewardship. My emergency fund is in place because I've been saving. Now, I will review my budget, cut any non-essentials, and protect my capital. Principle of abundance. Some great companies are born in recessions. Assets are on sale. Where are the opportunities? Can I provide a service that helps people or businesses save money in this climate? He networks strategically. Principle of responsibility. No one is coming to save me. I will adapt, innovate, and persevere. Who do you think will not only survive, but potentially thrive when the economic cycle turns? Person B's personal economy is resilient because it is built on principle, not on the fragile foundation of favorable external conditions. Person A's fate is tied directly to those conditions, and he has given up his agency. Your personal economic philosophy is your internal gyroscope. It keeps you upright and moving forward regardless of the turbulence around you. Turns you from a weather vane spinning with every wind of news into a compass pointing steadily toward your own true north of prosperity and freedom. So starting today, I want you to shift your focus. Spend less time analyzing the world's economy and more time architecting your own. Turn off the talking heads and pick up a book on personal finance or the biography of a builder instead of worrying about the national debt. Focus on eliminating your own consumer debt. Instead of waiting for the job market to improve, work on making yourself the best candidate in any market. Build your ship. Strengthen your sails. Study navigation. The sea will be what it will be. But you, my friend, you can be the captain of a vessel that is seaworthy in any weather. That is the power of your personal economic philosophy. It's not the economy, it's you. Thank you. Now let's go deeper into the architecture of this philosophy, because an idea this powerful deserves a blueprint. Consider the concept of internal capital versus external capital. Most people fixate on external capital, the money in their bank account, their stock portfolio, their home equity. These are important, but they are secondary. They are the fruits. Internal capital is the root system. Internal capital consists of your knowledge capital, what you know, and your ability to learn. Your skill capital, what you can do and how well you can do it. Your character capital, your integrity, work ethic, and resilience. And your social capital, the strength and quality of your relationships and reputation. Your personal economic philosophy must prioritize the cultivation of internal capital above all else. Why? Because external capital can be wiped out by a market crash, a lawsuit, a natural disaster. But internal capital is permanent property. If you lose all your money, but you have immense internal capital, a sharp mind, a valuable skill, a strong character, a trusted network, you can rebuild your external capital remarkably fast. The person who has spent years amassing only external capital with weak internal capital is one disaster away from ruin. The person with deep internal capital is antifragile. They can be knocked down, but they have the tools to rebuild often stronger. Therefore, your daily economic activity should be heavily weighted toward internal capital investments. Reading a book is an internal capital investment. Practicing a new skill is an internal capital investment. Keeping a promise is an internal capital investment in your character. Helping a colleague is an internal capital investment in your social capital. These are the highest return activities in your personal economy. They compound silently but powerfully over time. Next, let's talk about the economy of attention. In today's world, attention is a currency more valuable than money for many corporations. They compete fiercely for it. Your personal economic philosophy must include a strategy for your attention. Where you place your attention determines your reality. If you spend your attention consuming news designed to provoke fear and outrage, your internal economy will be one of anxiety and scarcity. If you spend your attention consuming endless entertainment, your internal economy will be one of passivity and mental lethargy. If you spend your attention on learning, planning, creating, and connecting, your internal economy will be one of growth, clarity, and energy. You must become the ruthless guardian of your attention. You must budget it like you budget your money. Allocate large blocks to high-value activities that build your internal capital. Limit your expenditure on attention-draining trivialities. This is perhaps the most modern and critical application of personal economic philosophy. Your attention is the seed corn of your future. Don't let the crows of distraction steal it all. Furthermore, we must address the philosophy of trade. Economics is, at its heart, the study of trade. Your life is a series of trades. You trade your time for experience, for money, for relationships. A wise personal economic philosophy understands the value of what you are trading and what you are receiving. The foolish trade is a lopsided one, trading healthful wealth, trading integrity for a shortcut, trading family time for a few extra dollars, trading long-term potential for short-term pleasure. The philosopher makes trades with the long-term balance sheet in mind. They ask, what is the true cost of this trade? Not just the monetary price, but the cost in time, energy, health, and relationships. And what is the true benefit? They are willing to make short-term sacrifices, trading leisure for study, trading spending for saving, trading comfort for discipline in exchange for long-term compounded benefits. They understand the power of deferred gratification. They are not swayed by the emotional economy of the moment. They are guided by the logical economy of a lifetime. This long-term perspective is your greatest shield against the predatory elements of the consumer economy, which is designed to get you to make foolish, emotional trades that benefit them and impoverish you over time. Finally, your personal economic philosophy must include a principle of legacy. Economics is not just about your consumption in your lifetime, it's about your production across generations. What are you producing that will outlast you? Are you just consuming resources, or are you creating capital, financial, intellectual, spiritual, that can be passed on? This shifts your thinking from what can I get to what can I build. It makes you a planter of trees under whose shade you do not plan to sit. It might mean building a business that provides jobs and value for decades. It might mean instilling financial wisdom in your children. It might mean creating a body of work or art. It might mean philanthropic, giving that compounds good in the world long after your check is cashed. This legacy principle elevates your personal economy from a selfish endeavor to a contributory one. In a beautiful paradox, this focus on contribution and legacy often amplifies your personality because it aligns you with the fundamental law of the universe. You reap what you sow, and you get what you give. So I encourage you to sit down this week and write out your personal economic philosophy. Make it a one-page manifesto. Define your principles for self-value, stewardship, abundance, time investment, responsibility, internal capital, attention management, wise trade, and legacy. This document will become more important to your future than any presidential economic policy. It is your constitution. It is the set of laws you will live by. Refer to it when the news is frightening. Consult it when you face a big financial decision. Let it be the calm, rational voice that overrides the noise of the crowd and the fears of the moment. The world's economy is a river. It has its currents and its eddies. Your personal economic philosophy is the rudder of your boat. You cannot control the river's flow, but with a strong rudder and a clear sense of direction, you can navigate to your chosen destination regardless of the current. Stop being a student of the river's moods. Become a master of your vessel. Build your philosophy, strengthen your rudder, and set your course for a prosperity that is not at the mercy of the headline, but is the inevitable result of the principles you choose to live by. That is the path to true economic freedom. It's not the economy, it's you. Thank you.